welcome to your December 2021 edition of Playdate, the monthly conversational gaming podcast from the folks at Now to Play Games. And this month I am joined by none other than John and Keith.
Say hi.
I thought the instructions would be helpful, but they get shit on every time, so why not?
Finn, if for $80 I can take a bus down to where he lives and personally kick him in the shin.
I thought you were closer than $80 away. I always assumed you guys were like neighbors.
It's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, about 2 hours away.
Sometimes you like lean out your window and wave at each other, and Rose like bakes fresh bread and brings it round. And I imagine you guys live in the French Village section of Texas. Wherever
that'd be nice.
You know, like the beginning of the Beauty and the Beast. That's what I imagine.
Neighbors in Texas is like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
I could not imagine.
I want to jump in on this idea of like what $80 for you. Let's just say 80 pounds, Finn. Like where would that get you on a plane ticket or anything like that? Because I know it's cheaper to fly and travel in across the pond than it is here in the States. And I'm like,
probably like halfway through the Atlantic Ocean or like Poland. You know?
And that would blows my mind is $80, like any kind of $80 will probably at least get me out of Texas where we're at. Get over to Keith or in possibly Oklahoma. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Everything else, it is hours upon hours. And it's interesting because I saw a map where like if you go from one side of Texas to the other, you've literally driven across the whole UK.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom that idea.
I can't fathom that because every time I look at the world map, I'm like, oh yeah, Texas ain't that big. Texas ain't that big.
And then you drop it on the UK and you're like, oh my God, it's huge.
Texas is a little bit too big.
Everything is bigger in Texas, even Texas for some reason. But no, it's awesome everything's so close by. Like even outside of the UK, just Europe generally, like countries being so close together, they're basically like even smaller, like less further apart than states are, I imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did Interrail Lane one time with a bunch of friends, and we hit, I think it was 12 international capitals in 2 weeks. It was awesome. It's great.
We could probably hit all 50 states in 2 weeks, but
that's like without sleeping.
That's without sleeping. That's a lot of driving. So I don't know if 50 in 12 days is a good. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do that actually.
There's got to be some filler states. We can skip the filler states.
Oh yeah, we can totally skip Wyoming.
Yeah, Ohio.
Yeah, you just drive through Ohio, like North Dakota, like those are fine. Like you just say like hi, what's going on, and that's it. But
once you've seen one Carolina, you've seen all the Carolinas.
Kind of like the Virginias. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. That doesn't really matter.
All right. Guys, this is our December edition. It's the final edition of the calendar year. We are gearing up right now as we're recording for our Game of the Year video selection process sometime next week-ish, around the time before TGAs. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, while we're preparing for that will be a whole process. There will largely be chairs thrown and curse
there will be blood.
There will be blood. But
I drink your milkshake.
Obviously, we consume other things throughout the year, right? We like more than one thing. We like video games a lot, but we like other things. I want to go through real quick. What's your something of the year? Whether it's movies, TV shows, albums, just lay it on me. Personal favorites.
Keith, I'll let you go first.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it just recently popped. Warner Brothers Japan did a nice reveal of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 opening, for Stone Ocean, and it brings me back to the late 1990s, early 2000 punk rock grunge era, and it's like, oh yeah, this is childhood.
So what's that, opening of the year, anime of the year, trailer of the year?
Yeah, I would say for anime opening of the year, yeah.
Nice.
I love that we have that too, because if you think about it, like every anime opening is so completely different. You're like, It has to do just enough to get you hyped and keep you in, like most openings, but anime does it differently and it does it better, I think, and I love it.
Yeah, anime OPs are so much better than like Western TV themes and openings.
Who cares about I'll Be There For You? Screw Friends. I'll say it.
John, I don't know if you know where I was this weekend. I was literally at a like Friends set reenactment festival with all of my family who are obsessed with Friends. I have several photographs of me in like Joanne Chandler's apartment. So that was
Pivot.
a deep cut.
Pivot.
That was a dig, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
I'm obsessed with Friends. I can quote every line of Friends. It was on.
Can you really?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm not gonna give you crap. I grew up with Friends. Like I remember when it ended. But I'm more of a How I Met Your Mother fan, so I get it. Like I can quote all of How I Met Your Mother, so I'm not gonna give you crap on any of that stuff. I think it's funny, like just the obsessiveness of Friends or How I Met Your Mother or anime or anything like that. It's just I randomly grabbed something and it was Friends, and I did not know you did that this weekend, Finn. That is great.
Yeah, just you cut me right where it hurts. But no, with anime OPs, like they're so creative and so like varied, even among like their own shows, that it can get hated. Like if an anime goes long enough, like people rank the OPs, like which My Hero Academia OP is the best, and it's like, no, this is the correct order, and it's like, yeah, it's cool that you can have like that debate among like a 1 minute 30-second nice bit of animation and a song.
The one that has always thrown me off. Well, I had to get used to it because I'm not big into anime. I started getting into it. Like Attack on Titan, like threw me completely off when like season 2 happened. And like, oh, it's a completely different thing. And then this last season is just so odd to me. I'm like, all right, what happened to the cool like German rock and stuff like that? Now we have a choir, which I'm still good with. I think the one that really kind of messed me up, and I was like, because I always follow like the openings with the seasons in the sense of like, all right, this is season 2, but I forgot that there's season 1 part 1 and then season 1 part 2, and it was Sword Art Online. That's the one I was like, did we finish the first season? And then you're in the fairy world. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. Is this season 2? And we had to look it up. I'm like, oh no, it's still season 1. What in God's name is happening right now? I'm very confused because like it started great. I loved it, and that fairy season was like, or fairy half season was weird to me. And like Rose and I powered through it, and then we just haven't picked it back up.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to let you know that SAO is a pile of trash. I feel sorry that y'all even had to watch it.
Yeah.
I liked the first one. I'll absolutely admit, I actually really enjoyed the first half of the season. Like, I thought it was a very interesting concept. I mean, die in the game, die in the real world. I mean, it happens, but I kind of liked the idea behind it. But once we went into the fantasy world, I was like, what?
Yeah, premise was great. First arc was great. Execution was flawed. So flawed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I was trying to think like of the years, right? And I was before this podcast, I was like looking back because sometimes you forget like across the sort of span of a year what you've consumed. I don't think I've seen a newly released movie this entire year. So,
oh my god!
So I'm gonna kind of cheat and say like it was a movie that finally released here, was available in Japan before. So my movie of the year is Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel Part 3 Spring Song.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was really, really good. Lots of just, Fate and Ufotable obviously have jaw-dropping animations. This really took it home. Completed a giant, massive journey with Fate for me, from 0 to the 2006 garbage to Unlimited Blade Works to these 3 movies. So that was like, it felt like a good payoff. So that's definitely my movie of the year, even though it technically didn't release this year, but it did here, so I'm going to count it.
I liked Mugen Train just to stay on this anime kick.
2021 anime wins, I think.
Yeah. I thought Mugen Train was actually really, really good. Everyone wanted us to watch Demon Slayer, and we finally broke, and we're like, all right, let's do it. And we got, what was it? Funimation was the only place that we could watch it, so we picked up Funimation real fast so we could watch Mugen Train. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I'll go with
things about that. Yeah,
it's great. I'll go with actually Shang-Chi for my movie of the year. No. I take that back. I love Shang-Chi. let me roll them back. I got my tickets to No Way Home, so I'm pretty excited for that to come out. I truly loved Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah,
I thought that movie kicked so much ass. I grew up with Ghostbusters. I loved it. It was great. I teared up a little bit from sounds, guys. I teared up from sounds. The Ecto-1, when the siren started going off, it hit me. It hit me in the feels. And I was like, I'm a child right now, and I love it. It threw me back to when I was a kid and I had my own little plastic proton pack. Awesome.
Yes, my Ghostbusters Ecto Cooler.
They were actually they made Ecto Cooler at the theater I went to.
Oh, you're lucky because that was a promotional only item, and I want Ecto Cooler back.
John, I think a few weeks ago on the podcast, the weekly podcast that we do over at Now to Play Games, I think I ripped on you for your love of Ghostbusters, but I was genuinely hoping that this movie would be good and that you'd enjoy it. I think I'm going to go see it, even though I'm not a huge Ghostbusters person myself, but it just looks like fun. It just looks like...
And that's all I was looking for, was just something fun, and that's what I got out of it. Yeah, I'm a little deeper into it because I love the movies, but as long as a movie's fun to me, I'm pretty well set. I don't need like top tier life changing movies. I'm just like, I know what I'm going into. I know where to set my expectations 99% of the time, and usually I get entertained, and I'm happy with that.
TV show of the year, Ted Lasso.
All right, Finn.
1,000,000,000% Ted Lasso.
I am going to be upgrading my cell phone service just so I can get a free year of Apple TV, just so I can watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah, please.
Even though I know I get 6 months of it from PlayStation.
Because, first season hits great, super, super funny show, super likable characters, really well written. Season 2 goes places. It builds upon itself to the point where it started off as like dumb American coaches football. And it just turned into this whole thing. And I don't do not be turned off by the fact that it's a soccer show. Soccer barely features in it after a while. It's more just like a background element of the show. It's all about characters and great character development and toxic positivity, but also how that can be a good thing sometimes. It delves deep, and I'm so sad that I thought season 2 was a while ago, but season 2 just happened. So it's going to be a while before season 3 hits, and I'm gonna feel a void in my soul until then. But yeah, Ted Lasso.
I'm a Jason Sudeikis fan. Mm-hmm. I love that guy, so I'm pretty pumped to actually watch this.
I wasn't until Ted Lasso, and I am on the Jason Sudeikis train all over. Not that I didn't like him, I just didn't know of his work too much.
Yeah,
I'd watched Horrible Bosses, but other than that, not too
far.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Man, Ted Lasso.
I'm going to go last on the TV show because you guys are going to make so much fun of me, and I'm just preparing you for that. So, Keith, go ahead.
All right. It hasn't released this year, but this show has been going on for about 20 years now.
The Simpsons?
No. I have finally caught up with One Piece, all 1,001 episodes that I can watch right now.
Commitment.
And it's taken me 2 years, and I would like to say that this is my anime of the year. The Wano arc is pretty lit.
Commitment. Oh my god.
That is... Yeah, I respect you for that.
Yeah, any show of that kind, I need to be on the ground level. Like, I was there immediately with My Hero Academia. If My Hero Academia was even where it's at now, I don't think I would start it, just because the sheer volume of it. Let alone One Piece, Bleach, Fairy Tail, things like that. I think I was actually fairly early on Fairy Tail, but that did not keep my interest at all. Yeah, I think that might have burned me a little bit when it comes to those long shows. But yeah, man, like... If you're willing to go through that amount of content
that is
and still
impressive.
Come out at the end of it saying that it's your TV show of the year, then yeah, hats off to One Piece.
Yeah, I took it in stride and took it in chunks. I also kind of cheated by watching a few of the movies that recapped arcs.
Okay.
Were you always watching with full attention, or was it a second monitor show?
It was full attention.
Yeah, because I couldn't watch it any other way, I don't think. I very rarely do second monitor TV viewing. It's always podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is so hard for me to do that. I just can't. If it's something new, you have to have my full focus on it so I can understand and get it. Like, I just can't do that second monitor. Like, I can do a switch and kind of play along and listen, but that is very rare for me to do as well.
Yeah. It's commitment.
All right, guys. All right. I'm going to tell you, because I haven't started Cowboy Bebop, and I love the anime, and I want to watch the live action, and I love John Cho, and because we're recording this before Witcher Season 2 comes out, which I think is going to be amazing, because I loved Season 1, my TV show of the year, I don't know if Rose can hear me, I know she just got home, is Great British Baking Show. Not even lying. Not even freaking lying. How much I needed that show in my life. Like, what you say about Ted Lasso, Finn, is exactly what I needed and what Great British Baking Show gave me. I just needed some sort of positive, fun, goofy thing, and goddamn, did it give it to me. And I was like, it was Saturday mornings. That was for 9 weeks. That's what we did. We watched Great British Baking Show, and it was absolutely amazing. And I'm talking like, I loved Loki. I loved Falcon and Winter Soldier. But good Lord, did I just like, oh my God, are they going to pull off this bake? Oh my God, who's going to get a Paul Hollywood handshake? And I'm freaking out and I'm just enjoying myself. And I'm like, all right, I'm a fan now. Damn it, this is too much.
So is Great British what was it called?
Here in the States, it's called Great British Baking Show.
But it's still the same thing. It's still what we call Great British Bake Off over here, right?
Yes.
It's the same people. Yep. It's Mary Berry. And all those. No? Mary Berry not on there? She's
no,
not
Mary Berry, I don't think. Mary Berry was the first host. Thank you, Rose. Now it's. Oh, she was before Prue. Oh, yeah, that's right. Now we have Prue. I don't remember last name with Paul Hollywood. And then who's the host now? Matt Lucas and.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Great British Bake Off for you guys, but Pillsbury owns Bake Off, the term Bake Off. So here in the States, we have to call it something else, which is really funny because in editing wise, they slipped up like 1 or 2 times during the whole season where they called it Bake Off. Because I'm like, I think you have to actually go back and refilm that for the States.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely a constant love affair for us over here is the Great British Bake Off. It's not my... I'm not as big into it as some other people, but I definitely do appreciate the tension that show provides, and just
oh my God, it's so good.
It grips you. It shouldn't grip you because it's like it's a tart. They're making a tart. You know what I mean? But
they're baking stuff, and you're like, I need to know more about how this person put this together, and are they going to are they going to pull it off? Did they underprove the bread? Did they overbake it? I need to know, and it's horrible, and I love it.
You gotta go with
Will his cake be moist? Ooh, no.
Yes!
How dare you mess up a chiffon? The most complicated cake.
The best ones is when they do the charity ones where they bring like celebrities in, and you have like James A. Caster, and he's describing his process, and he's like, started making it, had a breakdown, bon appetit. It's like, okay. we can all feel that.
Getting on that, celebrities doing, the cooking stuff. Like, my favorite combination in these past few years has been Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg.
They're still going. They're still doing stuff together.
Oh yeah, they're still going.
It's good to see. God, that's such a partnership.
And one of them's only one of them's actually a criminal. Guess which one?
The results will shock you.
Yeah, I was a clickbait headline for sure. No, I love seeing that stuff because like Snoop Dogg, like he leans into it, right? Because he started off in like the 90s and stuff as like gangster rap, and like people will call him out. It's like, oh, you're doing Martha Stewart now, and you're like, just like, well, dude, he's like rich as hell now. He's not going to be rapping about what it's like to live in the ghetto. Like, may as well do Martha Stewart. May as well, like run the Snoop Dogg American football coaching school or whatever the hell he does.
I mean, this man has his own cookbook out, and I'm looking forward to getting it at some point. Like, dang. And for those who don't know, I've been in the cooking business like most of my life. I love to cook and bake, and I collect cookbooks sometimes. And, it's a dream to cook some of Snoop Dogg's treats.
I knew you were into... I knew you were into cooking. Sorry. I look over and I see Finn just cracking up on that one. Yeah. I knew you were into cooking. I didn't know you collected cookbook. That's awesome. I dig that.
I don't have a... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, yeah, it's a small little unknown thing. I have like,
Nice.
it's not many. I only have like 5 or 6 cookbooks, but they're
Still.
some of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting old. I'm interested to hear if you guys have any takes, but like, I'm kind of waiting for my Spotify Wrap this year when it comes to like.
Oh
songs.
God, me too.
Because
and they're doing such a good job of promoting it. Like,
they're
it's
hyping
coming.
it up. Yeah, it's coming. It's like it's a whole thing. But like, I'm kind of scared to be honest because I sort of prided myself for a lot of years in like constantly listening to new music, constantly like branching out and finding new genres. This year, I don't know what happened to me. Like, I don't think I've listened to any music that has released this year at all. It's all been old music, particularly the Beatles. I guess I've reached that phase in my life where I'm just in a deep dive Beatles phase. And they have that like new 3-part doc that Peter Jackson directed or cut or whatever that I need to watch. But man, it's just been Beatles songs all year. So I guess the Beatles, just the Beatles win 2021.
I'm going to be honest with you. The extent of any new music that I have heard, or recently new music, has been ads coming from my Roku.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Like, we'll watch the news, and all of a sudden we'll get like a 2-minute ad break, and most of the music that's new comes from the ads.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, funny on this one, I was talking with my boss earlier today, and we went up to, Rose and I went up to Oklahoma over the weekend to build some sound panels with my dad. Rose was in the house with my mom, and they were watching the American Music Awards. I walk in, and I just sit down and start watching, and 99% of people, I was like, who is that? Who are you? Who is this artist? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anyone. Like, I know BTS. That's about it.
Lil Nas who?
I was like, I know Lil Nas. And everyone like, how many people's names end in G? What? Why is this a thing? Like, am I that old? And I'm like, oh God. Oh, I don't know. I don't know very many people. I know, I have listened to some new music for me. Raleigh Ritchie has still hit hard with me. I freaking love Raleigh Ritchie. I think his music's great. And like his new song that what's it called? Hold on. I'm not okay, but I know I'm going to be. I don't know why that one just hit hard with me. And I'm like, it's kind of my, all right, I need to calm down. Everything's going to be okay. Let's put on some Raleigh Ritchie and let's go. And that man just can sing to my soul because it's fantastic.
Yeah, you really.
And then I just listen to a shit ton of podcasts.
Yeah, and you're going to laugh at me because, I know Finn's been on a Beatles kick. I've been on a Spice Girls kick.
Yeah, dude.
Yes!
Yes.
I'm here for that.
Oh. So
God, Spice Girls are great.
You got Wannabe playing in the background.
Just gets you going.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Ted Lasso where they like get the football team to perform like a dance choreography routine for Bye 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 by NSYNC. And
damn straight.
It's been stuck in my head since I watched that episode. Yeah. Just gets you going. Just
good times.
That mid-2000s, like pop group,
It's stuck in your ear and it just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It's got lasting power.
Yeah. Do we have any more of the years before we move on to talk about games, or is that it? Because
let me check. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally started playing a YouTube video. I hope that doesn't pick up. But of our years, geez, we got movies, TV shows, songs. I guess anything of the year, of the yearify.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say that. Okay, what is it? I've been using it a bit.
You got this.
I just lost it, man. It was there at the tip of my tongue. I've been using it for quite a while. And now I can't remember the name of it.
Amnesia of the year.
Yeah, amnesia of the year.
Yeah. Lost
idea of the year. This entire moment right here.
Damn. Yeah, I almost want to say something to do with the Fantasy League. Like biggest disappointment, Battlefield 2042, to be honest.
It actually has. That's what it is. It's the Fantasy League site, because in order to prepare for next year, I've been browsing through some of their settings and stuff like that.
Preseason training.
Preseason training, and I'm coming back next year bigger, stronger.
Oh my god.
Harder,
And
better, faster, stronger.
I'm not
Don't
ready.
remind me that Daft Punk broke up.
That's the biggest sad of the year.
Sad of the year.
Sad of the year is Daft Punk breaking up. Oh my god.
Dude.
But yeah, it has to be the Fantasy Critic site. Yeah, because I check it every day just to make sure, to get my daily dose of disappointment that I'm losing like 60 points because of some stupid crap.
Now you know. Now you know. You can't play game. You can't pick games that you want to be good. You have to think about who's reviewing it and what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say, these people reviewing are a bunch of chumps. Up your
know.
game.
I don't know. Halo's doing pretty good right now.
Talking to
Halo's
you,
looking
Polygon.
great.
Halo can never fail, and you know this.
Halo has failed.
Halo Guardians. No one liked Halo Guardians. Like 5 was a disappointment. Probably did good, but it was a disappointment. At least I'm just saying this because I'm probably going to win the fantasy league. But I mean, thank you, Halo, for getting 80.
Both our Game of the Year talk and our Fantasy Critic results and draft for the next year coming up probably sometime this month across your feeds. A little bit of promotion there. As a reminder, this is Playdate, our monthly podcast, where we love playing games so much that we talk about them in all three tenses: past, present, and future. And in this ever so jolly episode, we'll be taking a look at the final list of games to come out in the year. Also, during the show, we'll be playing a traditional holiday parlor game with a twist to get us in the festive spirit.
Parlor game.
I can't say any other way. It's a parlor game, yes.
It's a parlor game, yes,
game
please.
with a family relation.
It was Colonel Mustard in the observatory with the candlestick.
I'm Mr. Moneybags.
But first, we must begin by discussing what we have been playing this past month. And today we're starting off with Shin Megami Tensei 5. Keith, tell us.
Oh boy,
It's on a journey.
It's on a journey. Like, this is the first mainline SMT game we have had in a while. For a while, it's been mostly Persona from Atlas. People were like, has Persona 5 killed Shin Megami Tensei? Find out why on my clickbait YouTube video. And short answer, no. Long answer, it's complicated.
It always is.
Always
the long answer.
Those Facebook relationship statuses. It's complicated.
Yeah.
In my experience, so 60 hours, 60 to 70 hours so far, typical RPG experience. I've had a decent time throughout.
Me and George just having a gaze at each other because I'm like, I just feel so bad. I can't think 20 hours into Psychonauts 2 and his case is just like...
It's like, it's a typical 60, 70 hour. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm just like, I don't even have 60 and 70 hours to do anything.
Laid back, casual.
I'm just like, and I freaking respect the hell out of that. And I'm just like, I'm with Finn. I'm like, oh God, 20 hours is hard, man.
I'm laughing at myself because I know it's pain.
Telepathic moment of the year between me and John.
You and I are on the same way. I feel like we're like, how? I respect it and I love it. I love that you have that. And I'm like, I wish I had that.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
Yeah, keep on going, baby. Keep on going.
It's perfectly fine. I expected it as soon as I said 60 to 70 hours. I knew something was going to happen. That's why I did it.
He knows. It's a flex.
It's a balls to the walls hard game, even on normal. Like, SMT is known for having multiple difficulties. Usually some being in the form that it will kill you even in the tutorial if you're not careful.
Harsh.
And I played through it, and it took me nearly 20 hours to beat the first boss.
God.
After that, it was smooth sailing. But,
yeah.
The first boss in SMT games is your test of, hey, are you actually learning our mechanics? Are you paying attention? Here, have a boss that's going to make you question ever buying this game.
I haven't finished it yet, but I feel like Deathloop is going to have one of those moments where it's like, have you been paying attention to the notes? But no, yeah, you compared it to, Persona obviously being the sort of darling younger brother of Shin Megami Tensei. sort of more fond after in recent years. I think of that like Simpsons meme where there's the sheep and then there's the smaller baby sheep, and it's like, go away, you. But Shin Megami Tensei's back seems to have come with fanfare. Would you say that it made attempts to try and mimic its more successful sibling, or do you think this is unapologetically Shin Megami Tensei?
Honestly, I think it's taken some improvements from the Persona series, but it is unapologetically SMT.
Right.
There's no getting past it.
You mentioned the difficulty being one of those things, notoriously difficult, and you were keen to stress that as you were like giving us, your accounts in Discord and whatnot, and on Twitter and stuff. I've seen you mention the difficulty. Would it be a thing where is there an easy difficulty? If I was going in as someone who'd never played one of these games before, would I opt for easy difficulty, which I'd never do in any video game?
For one of the first times in the series, yes, there is a easier difficulty. It is still pretty hard.
Right.
But it's a little bit more forgiving in terms of the fact that you still have to pay attention to the system, because the system will mess you up. They use what's called the press turn system. Like if you hit a weakness, you critical hit, or you weaknesses and critical hits will give you more turns to use. Missing, or an enemy that absorbs, blocks, or dodges your attacks or whatever, will subtract 2 turns from your system. Or all of your turns if you're unlucky. And it will make sure you're balancing your team. You can't just say, oh, I built the perfect team right at the start. Let's go through the whole entire game with the team. No. You're going to have to learn to adjust and evolve your tactics as you go.
Right. In terms of that, because difficulty is such a hard thing to balance in games, where you want to provide a player with a challenge, but you want that challenge to be fun and engaging,
satisfying,
and encouraging to the player, even if it is something difficult. You want to reinforce that they can make it if they just do things in a certain way. Does the game ever get in the way of itself in that way? Does the difficulty ever make you feel like discouraged, not want to play anymore, like almost malicious, like the game is trying to wear you down? Or is it a thing where you get beat by a boss or whatever, but you're like, okay, just one more go, and I gotta try it, and I know I can get it this time, and if I just do this sequence.
That's what it was like for me. It's like when I got to the first boss, I was just going into knowing that I would be testing the waters to see how things were going. If I needed to level up a little bit more, if I needed to change the demons of my party to, either hit certain weaknesses or reflect certain weaknesses, make sure I am not going in as I was before. Making sure I'm just that 1% better. And it's usually that 1%, like, that, God, it's been on my mind because I've watched a video on it from one of my favorite YouTubers, is the aggregation of 1%. Like, if you take even the most mundane things and improve them by 1%, you're making a great improvement to the whole.
Yeah.
And that game wants you, and SMT wants you to do that. Like, oh, that 1% is, I've changed the strengths of my party. Now I can hit the weakness of the enemy. I absorb the weaknesses or the strengths of the enemy. Therefore, those two 1% give me a higher chance of winning.
And so it is a thing where, like, when you figure that out, when you're in the midst of a boss battle and you beat it, is it a feeling where, all the pieces sort of fall into place, like you've completed a puzzle, or is it more like, oh my god, I survived that, how did that even happen?
It comes around, I'm not going to lie, most of the time you're going to die first time to the boss. It's going to happen. But usually once you get past a certain point in the battle, everything's like just clicks together and you're like, okay, I can do this, 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 and this. Now it's time to activate my ultimate ability to give me more turns. And now I can just use all those turns to annihilate it.
Would it be one of those things where if you were doing a second playthrough on the same difficulty, do you think you would, beat him in like 1 or 2 tries, or do you think there is just some intangible element to the game that you need to figure out on the fly?
Going in knowing what I know now without New Game Plus. I'm just adding that in as a factor of not New Game Plus, going in knowing what I know now about each and every boss fight. I think I could easily go first or second try. Nice. Given the fact that there is some random element to it of getting critical hitted out of nowhere or missing out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about these little goobers you have running around with your party, because that to me, from the footage I've seen, is the main appeal to me of like getting into this game, because it almost feels like Pokemon in a way, where you're collecting these little minions, but like they're very distinctive. The designs are so eye-catching, and they seem to like shed so much personality about these little creatures, whether it's like a mermaid or some kind of like devil creature or a demon. They all seem like they'd be, they're just interesting to look at, and you want to know more about them, and you want to, collect them all like you would almost, again, a Pokemon. How does that work in a Shin Megami Tensei game? Is it, do you feel attachment to these things? Are they just weapons in your arsenal that can be like easily swapped in and out for different fights? Do you have any sort of interaction, with them at all as characters, or are they just, again, tools to be used in a fight?
So fun thing is, let's start off on how you recruit them. Mm-hmm. So there are 2 ways to recruit your party members or your Pokemons, or in this case, demons, is you can actually talk to them in the middle of battle.
Right.
If you are on the same level or higher than them, you'll be able to talk to them, and they'll, do like a stupid little quiz. One guy will say like he's dancing and laughing, and you can have choices of laugh with him, laugh at him, or don't laugh. Mm-hmm. And depending on your choices, they can go on to the negotiation phase of you giving them items, arm wrestling them, which will check one of your stats and be like, hey, you won, congratulations. If you fail, they'll start attacking you. Basically, your whole entire recruitment phase is talking to them in battle. The second way to get them is to actually fuse them using older demons that you've captured.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about to ask, because I've played a Persona 5 Royal for a little bit, because I was like, I understand what you're saying with it when it comes to the quiz concept and the fusing, but yeah, there's no arm wrestling someone, which I was like, I was like, all right, I'm following the logic, because thankfully I have an idea what you're talking about when it comes to the demon things, and then you win arm wrestling or you do something with that, I'm like, oh, that's new.
Yeah, so the thing is some demons, each demon in a certain race has a personality type based on that race, and some of the stronger ones would be like, oh, I see you're strong, I'm strong too, arm wrestle me. And you can choose yes, and it will check your strength stat versus their strength stat. Mm-hmm. If your strength stat is higher, you win, and they'll come into your party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So do you, like, again, it's a very like difficult, intensive game. I imagine you're building your stats to try and make yourself as well suited as possible to boss fights, but do you ever know that you're going to try and like recruit a particular demon and like buff your stats up in preparation for that, or is it just sort of like as it comes? If I have the stats, I'll get them. If not, I'll not worry about it till later.
So in SMT 5 and other SMT games, whenever the main character levels up, you get, I believe, 3 random stats distributed in your regular stats, going through strength, magic, defense, stuff like that. And then you get 1 stat you can choose where it permanently goes. So it's a light build base. I went 100% physical.
Nice.
And so knowing that I'm going physical, I built my team around at least 1 healing and support, 1 that can debuff, and at least 1 other physical or magical, depending on whether I need it.
What is your favorite demon that you've recruited?
Ooh. I can't say because it's a spoiler.
Oh, okay. It's always the case. All right.
Actually, it's not a spoiler. It's DLC.
Oh, okay.
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra. All right. What is she? I imagine it's a she, but what is that?
Yeah. It's basically so all the demons in SMT games and Persona games are based off of actual lore.
Yeah.
Of actual, everywhere lore. Christianity, Hinduism, you got Shinto, you got Irish folklore, you got pretty much everything coming around, culminating into how these demons look and act. Mm-hmm. And Cleopatra is based off Egyptian.
Of course. Yeah.
And she uses an ability called Frolic, which will try and charm every enemy and then reduce all their stats by 1. So she plays a good role as debuffer.
Yeah. Is she sort of an all-purpose then, or would you have her in like most party setups, or is she a specific takedown type?
Personally, for me, since I've only gotten her on New Game Plus because of the DLC, I have decided to use her as a main debuffer and partial healer. Mm-hmm. So whenever she comes in, her role is to debuff the whole entire enemy party twice and then change out for an attacker.
Yeah. Roughly how many of these little goblins do you have now at this point? I have no concept of how many are in this game.
I have completed the compendium about 95% of the way. Mm-hmm. The ones that I am missing are easily seen on my compendium list, but the ones that I am missing come from the other endings I have not got.
Right.
And I think there's roughly about 200.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the sort of, story, actually, before I get into that, I'm going to stay on the sort of like looks and visuals of this game, because what struck me in terms of like how this seems to differ from other like pure RPGs I've seen is like the traversal. You're running around this big post-apocalyptic world. You've got her crazy blue hair flapping in the wind. You're like running across, trains and like decrepit bridges and up like fallen skyscrapers and stuff. It seems very open, almost like an action adventure or a platformer game. How does that play into the 60-hour long adventure? Does it get tiring, or does it hold up as a sort of traversal mechanic?
I say it holds up, mostly because that the vertical and horizontal exploration aspects of the game lead you to going into nooks and crannies where you can find secrets, treasure, upgrades, sometimes demons to talk to who give you something.
Okay.
So you're encouraged to explore.
You're very much encouraged to explore. Usually, right after the tutorial, you enter in your first ley line, which is your save point, your heal point, your shop, and your fusion area. And basically, the shop owner says, "Hey, I've sent a whole bunch of these little minions out to collect relics for me because I really like human relics of the olden age. And since you're here, you can go gather them for me instead and send my little guys back to me, please." Mm-hmm. And so you'll have to go looking throughout each and every map area for little red creatures called Mimons who will go back to the shop, and every 5 Mimons, you'll get an item from the shop.
Mm-hmm.
I love the names.
Yeah. The names are hilarious.
You get a Mimon, and you get a Mimon.
Because this game is unapologetically itself. It's in there. It's unapologetic, right? It's not going to be for everyone.
It is definitely not for everyone.
Yeah. So what would you say then would the shortcomings of this game be? Who might not this game be? What? That was a weird sentence. My words got tangled up there. All the words were there. They were just in the wrong order. Who might this game not be for? In your eyes, who would you not recommend this game to?
Honestly, people who consider difficulty options to be mandatory. that kind of thing. People who think that people who will go in playing on the easiest difficulty, expecting to be able to get through the game quicker because it's so-called easier on that difficulty. It comes down to the conundrum of like Dark Souls. It wants you to get good. It's not for everyone. It's an experience that you have to go in with open mind, saying, okay, I understand that this game's going to be hard. I'm just going to try it.
It's not one of those games where you can say, I just want to play for the story. I don't care about the combat. Because it seems like most of the way you interact with this world is through combat, and you'll be spending 80% of your time in combat.
You'll be spending a lot of your time in combat, because combat's how you make yourself stronger, make your party stronger, do subquests. You know, it's a combat-heavy game.
Yeah. So in terms of if someone just loves a good story, loves a good RPG for its story, for its dialogue, for its characters, is it worth it? Is it worth going through all that combat for this grand tale that it's trying to tell?
Honestly, I'm gonna be really blunt here. The story is cliche and bare bones.
Yeah.
If you're going through saying, "Oh, I'm gonna suffer through all this combat for the story," the suffering through combat ties into the story, because you're in a post-apocalyptic era, and you are trying to basically reclaim. Part of the story is that you are a being capable of reshaping the world by sitting on the throne of God.
Sounds like anime.
So, yes. Basically, your whole entire journey is to improve yourself, get stronger, obtain your godhood, and sit on that throne and reshape the world how you see fit.
And again, that sounds like, even from the limited amount that I know about these types of games, these Atlas games, it seems to be following like similar themes of like big, massive universe shattering, capabilities, and like different ideologies trying to, decide the fate of their respective worlds. So even in that, it seems like, you can get this kind of stuff other places, So yeah, I guess you would sort of say, yeah, it's for the gameplay, it's for that combat game loop that you would seek out Shin Megami Tensei 5.
And to feel rewarded on defeating a boss. I've tried this boss 10 times. I've lost 10 times, but that 11th time I finally won, I felt such a weight off of my shoulders. Right. It's one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have issues with it, though.
Yeah.
I really do. The game being on... I'm not bashing the Switch. I'm going to set this down 100%. I am not bashing the Switch. The Switch is one of my favorite consoles. I play on it a lot. However, this game seems like it was not made for the Switch, in mind.
Interesting, because it is exclusive to Switch. But
it's exclusive, so
I get what you mean.
Yes. Even though it's exclusive for the Switch, it feels like the Switch is not the right platform for it.
Right.
There is extreme pop-in. I'll go into my own personal party menu, and sometimes the textures won't load until like a couple seconds later. I will go into the shop, and it'll take like 30 to 40 seconds to load. I'll be running through the world map, and everything's textures doesn't want to pop in correctly. It's a very general feeling of I thought we fixed this issue.
Yeah.
It's one of those,
I thought we got past this.
It's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, I bet they were developing this on a Switch Pro dev kit and just had to,
right.
I mean,
the Switch Pro has to exist, man.
I bet this was the
Look
plan.
at it.
It's so stylized and so artistic. But yeah, I do get that vibe even watching like some basic B-roll of it, that the Switch can't match the ambition that the artists are trying to hit, just through sheer technical limitations. And like, yeah, you just watch it and like her blue, like her crazy blue hair is going, and it's like cool, but also like it doesn't even look like hair. It just looks like this weird thing that's like one of those wacky...
Weird floppy textures.
Yeah, weird like inflatable tube men just like rolling around on her head, you know, and it's, yeah. It's strange.
The thing that pisses me off the most, I've been playing it in a friend's Discord for, a couple friends watch me play every now and again. Mm-hmm. And a friend pointed out as I'm walking up a river, they saw the split in the textures, and it was like the... And I didn't see it at first. I'm just walking past. I didn't see it. And he's like, oh, wait, turn back. Turn to your left. Oh, look, the river is a split texture. And every time I walk past that river, I can't unsee the texture split.
Yeah, well, someone points out, it's never. I remember back when they first showed like the Halo Infinite trailer and people didn't like it and they made like Craig into a meme. When like they do that zoom in on Craig initially, like, and it's a CG, well, like it's an in-engine but pre-rendered trailer. You can see his shoulder clipping into his neck, and he's just like fighting with his neck. And I'm just like, come on, man. Someone pointed it out to me, and I'm like, I can't watch that trailer because I can just see his shoulder fighting with his neck. But yeah, it's just one of those things that does take, even in a very stylized world, it does take you out of it, and it kind of sucks.
And when you first get into combat, your player character flings his hand sword down, and it flops. It's not a stiff swing. The sword is floppy.
Were there any...
It's only at that first animation when you get into battle. It's only there. It's floppy.
I assume you're playing mostly docked instead of handheld.
Oh yeah, docked. Yeah,
docked all the way. Were there frame drops, or was that not really an issue?
I had a couple of significant frame drops loading into areas.
Right.
Frame drops after battle because the world's reloading itself. Mm-hmm. And I thought we had enough time with the Switch being out that devs would be able to work within its limitations and still get beautifully stylized games out of it. And right now, it just doesn't feel like it was made with that in mind.
Yeah. And the OLED's not going to solve that. The OLED doesn't solve posture tech. Then.
No.
I explained this to you before the podcast. I've been up for 17 and a half hours, 18 hours now. So sometimes words are going to be wrong. It's going to be one of those podcasts. We have some popster tech in.
Popster tech.
I didn't even say that right. I'm just going to move on from those words because they're clearly giving me difficulty. So yeah, do you think like... I don't know, are Shin Megami Tensei games... are they usually Nintendo exclusive, or is there do you think there's a chance that it's coming to PlayStation, PC, Xbox, maybe?
A few of the games have been on Nintendo, a couple on the PS1, not PS1. Yeah, Persona was on PS1. We'll call it part of the SMT. That's when it had SMT in its name for a while.
Yeah.
3 was on PS2. Digital Devil Saga was on PS2. And we know that the other SMT Persona games were on PS2 and Vita as well. Mm. So it's been a while, and I believe 4 was on the 3DS.
Yeah, I think I actually have it behind me. I should have grabbed it. I think we actually have one of the SMT games, just because for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not 100% exclusive. Mm-hmm. I mean, just recently we got 4 Gold and popped onto Steam.
Right. Still no 5 on Switch. We're gonna let that slide, though. It's gonna happen sometime.
Honestly, seeing SMT 5, I'll let it slide. I don't want to see pop in like that.
People don't
Especially
care.
With how fast-paced that game is, you're going to be popping in everywhere.
Yeah, people just want to play those games on the go. I guess, that's at the end of the day, is the joy of the Switch is that, even if it's 60 hours, you can bring Shin Megami Tensei 5 with you on the train and stuff. So, there's that aspect to it, and people might be willing to forgive, pop-in if it means, they can take it on the go. But, yeah, I think... it's weird. Maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth here because I don't think I've ever let things like texture pop in or anything like that stop me from playing a game that I've wanted to play before. But I think it will be. It won't be until they say now out on the PS5 before I really consider diving into this game. That'll be the opportunity, like Shin Megami Tensei 5 Game of the Year edition or whatever they call it. And I'm like, okay, now I'm in. Now that I've getting the full experience.
I'm going to be honest with you because this is probably going to segue into our next topic.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't ruin the experience for me. It just made me wish it was on the PS5.
Right.
And we know our next topic.
Yeah. So you've been spoiled by the PS5.
I have been spoiled.
Yeah.
By the PS5.
In what way? In what way has it spoiled you?
Just the reactiveness of everything. Like the load times are significantly pretty much not there. Yeah, I have barely had any issues with my game stuttering or going below their performance mode 60 frames per second. Mm-hmm. Just everything, load times, pop-ins, all the issues that I've had with all the things that I've had issues with SMT5, like they're practically non-existent on the PS5. And for a while before going into SMT5, all my games recently purchased that we've talked on for the past few months on Playdate have been on the PS5. Mm-hmm. And I feel that time spent, the hundreds of hours spent on those games, have spoiled me.
Yeah. I feel that because it's rough switching back and forth because, John, I know you felt this too, where you're, going between zones in Metroid Dread and you're on an elevator and you're like...
Yeah, all right, we're taking a little bit longer on this one.
Been on this for a while. Better get to that planet soon. And it's just man, it really does show how far behind the Switch is in the grand scheme of things. Because you think about it, even when it came out, it was already outdated because you had the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, around that time. If not before the Switch. I can't remember how those timelines lined up exactly. But even then, it wasn't output into 4K. Wasn't doing 60 FPS, and now we're in a world where that seems like normal. And so whenever you go back, basically now my Switch is my Nintendo machine. I think it's that for a lot of people. I was never a huge one for the handheld Switch experience. I'm almost exclusively docked. I just don't play a lot of handheld gaming. So there's no reason for me, if a game is multi-platform, to not go, hey, I'll just play it on PS5, or hey, I'll play it on PC even. There's just not a lot of reason for that. So I avoid it as much as possible. But then you do get a Metroid Dread, which actually runs pretty well. I only had one huge frame drop in it. Mostly runs pretty smooth. And a pretty nice looking game as well. Again, not gorgeous. Again, you look at some of the ray tracing, like someone like Ratchet and Clank does. And the effects, the particle effects and things like Returnal, and then you move to Metroid Dread and you're like, that looks good, but it's not blowing me away. Yeah, it could be so much better. And it
I always
makes
find
you yearn
this
for a Switch Pro,
I find this conversation always interesting with a lot of people, mainly because, I'm not going to fight you guys on that one. Yeah, it's showing its age. The console's coming up on 5 years. And it hasn't changed, period. We got a better battery, that's it. But we're also talking comparatively micro SD cards to solid state drives.
Right. Yes.
And DDR5 RAM comparative to inboard NVIDIA stuff. And I'm like, I take what I can get from it. Yeah, and let's be honest. Can you both look at me right now and go, a Switch Pro will fix all of that?
No, it won't.
No, because you absolutely not. You're going to load a little bit faster, and that's about it. And then you're going to get upscaled 4K if that's what we really want. Yeah, 4K is there. We're there now where 4K makes a lot more sense, mostly. But when you look at Netflix and things that people consume media on, you have the option for 4K HDR, but I would venture to say a lot of people still do 1080.
I still don't own a 4K TV.
See?
That's why I'm not up. The thing is I'm not upset with SMT being on the Switch. I'm just thinking all of the small things that added up to my 80-hour playtime could have been at least 20 minutes to an hour or two shorter. if I didn't have to back out of my demon summoning menu to go to the shop, to then that 30-second load, then go to this 30-second load,
sure,
to
yeah.
that 30-second. It could have been better. I'm not faulting the game for it at all.
That's where next gen actually is. I think we can all agree. It's not 4K 60. It's not 4K 120. It literally is load times. And yeah, the Switch takes forever to load. Hell, I'm playing through Cozy Grove a little bit, and my God, it kills me. I'm like, come on, you can go just a little bit faster, can't you? And it's not an intensive game when it comes to graphics or anything like that. So it's always interesting. The PlayStation 5, the Series X, they're freaking great. I love those consoles. I mean, I'm playing through Ratchet and Clank right now, and it blows my mind how smooth and seamless the transition is in the rifts. And then I jump into something like Pokemon or Breath of the Wild, and I look at Breath of the Wild, I'm like, we still consider that one of the greatest games ever made. It is 5 years old, and everyone's like, maybe this is going to be the Breath of the Wild of insert game here. And there's a tier concept that we literally forget about when it comes to next gen, previous gen, and all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that bothers me really about the Switch as it stands is because this is why I thought the Switch Pro was needed. Even if it meant standard Switch users suffering, having this sort of PS4 cyberpunk experience, right? Because I feel like it limits the ambition of developers. Because even it's not even out yet. Look at Pokemon Legends Arceus. That game looks like ass. Unacceptable ass. And even as far back as Fire Emblem Three Houses, that game was, I loved that game. But I walk around Garag Mach Monastery, and all I see is unused potential, right? Bits, just empty spaces that I know could be filled with life, and if it just had the tech to back it up. And really, that's where I'm getting most scared. Breath of the Wild 2, it can pull out something, I'm sure. They have some tricks to make this seem like it's a current gen game on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, again, you look at a Shin Megami Tensi 5, you look at a Metroid Dread, and a Metroid Dread is a very closed off game. It's very much itself. It doesn't deviate too far from what Metroid was in the SNES, right? So there's not a whole lot to strive for there. But when you look at more ambitious games like an open world Pokemon game, say, or a Monster Hunter style open world Pokemon game, even, it sort of limits what it can do. And you look at big, beautiful open worlds like, Red Dead, GTA, Far Cry 6, and you're just games like that, I guess, will never be on that level on the Switch as it stands. And it just means that the Switch is for a certain type of game. And that's just going to be it until, it moves on. But really the thing that bothers me is, well, it doesn't bother me, but it's the biggest thing I notice when switching between PS5 and Switch is 60 FPS, more than 4K, more than ray tracing, even more than load times.
Yeah,
is 60 FPS. That I feel like that is the biggest jump between next gen and last gen. Is just I used to think PC gamers were just being smug, but no, they had it right the whole time. If it's not 60 FPS, I can't unsee it, and it just bothers me the whole time. So I hope, at the very least, that would be the upgrade I would like to see from an improved Switch, is the ability to run in 60 FPS. Even if every other aspect of the game is the same, it would just be a bit nicer. And load times would be nice as well, obviously.
I get you. I don't mind 60 FPS. I mean, I've come from, most RPGs that you really don't need 60 FPS, but once you see their fluid attack animations going through their pre-rendered cutscene of animation, it just man, this would look better in 60 FPS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deviate too much from this conversation or kick us off to somewhere else. And maybe we can come back to this later or another podcast or anything like that. why do you think it's video games that you want 60 FPS? Because I guarantee you, none of us want a 60 FPS show. It looks like ass.
Well, no,
we're in 24. We like the 24 frames per second. That is the standard when it comes to film and TV shows. It's 24 frames media on that one. And I always find it funny that it's give me 30, but I really want 60 or even now 120. And it's that's what's pushing this concept of video games. Let me say it that way. Video games are what's pushing that concept. And I always find that interesting. Just like, oh no, but I don't want to watch it on my other media where it involves like real people. Let me just play video games where it's smooth animation, but I'll bring back The Witcher. Watching freaking Henry Cavill do sword fight very smoothly in 24 frames because he's a real dude kind of does it for me as well as a 60 frame per second. I'm just like, I always found that argument like, oh, I need my 60 frames per second interesting. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I fully agree with that. I would love to see Zelda in 60 frames, but it's just like, all right, but is it because of the digital concept of video games and then the real life concept? Well, actually, even animated, I want to say animated movies are still 24 frames a second.
Yeah, no, 100% they are. And here's why, John. At least my theory, like not knowing a whole lot about the film aspect and stuff, here's my best educated guess as to why that is. With animation, like 2D animation or even 3D animation, you want it to be 24 FPS because you want those gaps in between the frames, right? You want your brain to fill in those gaps of like swinging a sword and like having it go so fast that it seems like it's skipping through, because it is skipping through, and that tricks your brain in a satisfying way. You see like YouTube edits of like 60 FPS-ized animation sequences, and you're like, that doesn't look right, and it's not supposed to look like that. There's supposed to be gaps there. And I think it's the same with live action stuff or just like general TV shows. Is like your brain's okay with the gaps being there. Where I think it's different with video games is that not only is the like draw to screen happening every frame, but like the logic of the video game is happening every frame, right? Every frame, the game like cycles through a bit of logic, and so it can read controls read input every frame, do different output every frame. And so I think it's when you're moving around a world and controlling a character, I think the higher FPS.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah. Because I think
that's where I think it is actually 100%. It's because most media at 24 frames mostly is passive. Video games are active, and 60 is something because it does. You're right. Our brain actually connects a little bit faster because the frame rate of what we see and how we move ourselves, and we're projecting ourselves into a video game character. So the closer they move to what our mind concept is of movement, the easier it is to follow. And you're right, with the fill-in of the 24 frames a second, there's a film concept of 24 frames a second that we're used to, and our mind still fills in that, okay, that is a fluid movement.
Yeah.
But because of the jerkiness that is frames less than 30, I'm still cool with 30 frames. But like the closer you get to Uncanny Valley, real movement, 1-to-1, the easier your mind actually comprehends what's going on.
It's an important reason why VR tends to be as high hertz as possible, because if it's low hertz, low frames per second, you will get sickness, you will get motion sickness, because your brain just can't. It thinks you're in a reality, but the reality is moving slower and it's stuttering, and that just doesn't connect with your brain because you're interacting with it. You're not just watching it, you're living in this world. And so higher hertz is important when you're interacting with something and you believe you have an impact on it, and it gives you feedback,
The meta needs to run at 240 frames per second. That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of high frames per second, 4K, blistering action, ambition, things that next-gen consoles can do that other consoles couldn't do. John, tell me about the marvel that is Forza Horizon 5.
This game is so damn pretty. There is no stutter. It's all smooth, buttery, and it is fantastic, and I absolutely love this game. I love cars. I do. I like being able to sit there and kind of adjust my car how it is, whether it's transmission, tires, traction. I just blanked out what I was going with that, but screw it. This game is great. It is overwhelming as hell, and it is magnificent. Like, this is one of those games, I don't know who. One of the writers for Arcade Spirits, we know, and he was talking about how he loves Forza because it's, like Keith, like you said, There's a 60, 70 hour RPG that you can play. And here's Forza is kind of my RPG, which it's massive. It's huge. I can jump in, I can do something real fast, and I can get right back out. But I get to do it in the beautiful landscape that is Mexico. The voice acting's pretty fun. I just dig this game, dude. Like, it's cars. It's very simple. I don't have to worry about too much. I just go fast, and I try and win every race. And there's something just so remarkably number go up concept of that, where it's just, I don't have to think much, pedal to the metal. I'm figuring out how to drift the best way to cut people off and just not run over too much shit. That's Forza, and it's just amazing, and I love it.
Yeah. Even without having played it, easily the prettiest game of the year by a mile.
Yes.
Just so goddamn pretty. I've seen the photo emojis in that game, and you're like, if you line it up correctly, you're not able to distinguish it from realistic imagery. Yeah, it's
weird. Like I took a picture of one like in front of a house, and I stopped, and it clicked on me, and I was like, "Is this a real car? Is this a real house?
Yeah,
there's real waves on a beach in Mexico. What's happening?" But yeah, it is one of those. One, I've always loved the Forza games, and then two, I just love the amount of care that Turn 10 put into this bad boy for accessibility and all that stuff. It's just, it is mind-boggling what they've put in there just to make it to a point where everyone can play this game. And I truly love that they did that. And seriously, just Game Pass all the way. Just pick up Game Pass. If you're listening to this and you haven't, pick up Game Pass and just play Forza, and you will be highly impressed. It's not anything you really have to think about. Just enjoy the cars. Enjoy driving. Like, driving with the Series X is insane because I can feel the bumps. I start skidding out, and like I can feel the left rumble just a little bit more as I'm actually drifting off, and it feels amazing. And I am very sad I have not played it in probably 3 or 4 days.
You talked about accessibility, and it's like, yeah, it's nominated for a Game Award for accessibility. It provides tons of options that just let you, tailor your experience to you specifically, whatever type of way you want to play or need to play. Even down to like tiny, tiny things. Like I was looking at my friend playing, and I was like looking at his screen. He was in cockpit view, and I was like, "What's up with your right arm?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I gave my character a prosthetic arm." Yep. Like that's how minute you can go, and it's like, oh, that's so cool. That they just let you do that.
There's just both full on character creation. You have prosthetic hand, arm, both arms, both legs, one hand, leg, one foot. Like, it is really, really cool that what they did when it came to we want you to get as close as possible to your character being in this game. I don't even know how many names they had everyone record. Like, my name's actually in the game, which, my name's John. It's fine. But what got me was it was spelled correctly.
Nice.
Because I don't have an H. And I was like, oh my God, you're doing it. You did it. I was like, hell yes. So I thought that was cool. I love that there is the sign language is being added into it. And then the one, Rose and I talked about it, and I haven't checked it yet, is how you're going so fast, and it actually does a really, really good job at showing how fast you're going. But what they did is you can actually tweak it, because some people actually get sick from going that fast. It just doesn't work for them. But Forza and Turn 10 figured out how to actually, you stay the same speed in game, but everything passing you is going slower. Mm-hmm. And so it is just the tech behind that, and just the thought process behind that, it impresses me beyond belief. And it's one of those, this is what games should be when it comes to making sure people can just play your game.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what those guys do with Fable. Whether they could bring their open world approach to that. But when you're playing, how do you like to play Forza? Do you do races? Do you do special events? Are you just kicking back, driving around, do
everything,
seeing around?
I literally I'll get a point, and I'm like, I gotta go do this. I gotta go open a house. I need a new house, and I'll start going there, and then all of a sudden I'll just see something like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and do this race real fast, and I'll jump into that race. Or the barn finds are probably my favorite thing, because it's just, I like being able to just drive around and find a specific barn that's going to have some sort of car that That's the only way you can pick it up is through that barn find. And
So what is that? Is that like a waypoint you go to, or is it like a scavenger
No, it literally is. You can actually activate the mission, and it just gives you like an orange. It's a radius. Like it's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
And you just start driving around until you find a barn, and then your guy gets out. Your mechanic shows up, and she's like, "Oh my god, this it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna take like 12 actual real days for me to fix it." And you're like, "What?" Is it like I can pay to like get it done faster, or just let it sit and it'll be done when it's done.
Mm-hmm. I think I was intimidated by the sheer power of Forza Horizon 5, right? To the point where I was like scared to install it on my PC because I was like, it's gonna make my PC growl, right?
Okay, it'll melt your PC.
It can make your PC growl, but I was very happy to notice on a friend's similar PC that it was able to run it at a performance level. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. And so like that encourages me to download and just like, because I just love a good racing game. It's been ages since I played a good racing game because like Need for Speed doesn't really do it anymore.
No.
Midnight Club doesn't exist. And like I've just been putting off Forza for so long. I know I'd love it. I just gotta dive in.
Just do it. It's great. Like, I love this game. It's free on Game Pass. I bought the freaking collector's edition concept where I get all the extra cars. I don't have to pay for the base game, but I get like, I think I paid 30 or 40 extra bucks, and I get all the extra cars, all the season passes. Hell, I bought the damn Forza controller. I admit it. I wanted the extra cars.
Nice.
And I had to do it. Forza's the one game that I will literally go all out on just because I enjoy the cars. I get to, and it's crazy how close they got to cars that I'm familiar with that I've driven, and how close they got the actual feel of driving that car. It is mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. And so that's something I just like, all right, I kind of understand how it might control. It gives me an idea, especially if I have the car or if I've actually driven, I'm familiar with it. I kind of know the ins and outs of it, and it just drives that way. Like Rose and I recently bought a Subaru, and I have an idea of how they handle now, and that's exactly how they handle in Forza. And it's crazy.
It's always interesting with Forza Horizon, right? Because it's like, it's always, a 90 plus on Metacritic, right? It always gets great reviews. Always. I was listening to Keely, because Keely's doing like a build up to the Game Awards podcast now. He just released the first episode where he's like going through the nominees with like a bunch of guests and like discussing them, and like Forza Horizon 5 comes up a bunch, and it's like he's talking about like, it's not on Game of the Year for this and this reason, but it's still recognizing these other awards. And you're just like, you look at a game like Forza Horizon 5 and you're like, how do you fault it?
How?
Like,
yeah.
It's
got a 92 on OpenCritic?
It's exemplary of a 10 out of 10 game. Like, I cannot think of a single thing that could be wrong with that game.
I think isn't it the highest reviewed game this year now too?
Easily the highest reviewed game of this year on OpenCritic and Metacritic and all those like review aggregators.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to dispute this being like the game of the year,
Yeah.
But it's just not the type of game that gets it. Like, it never gets that recognition.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one that actually shocked me too, because I was like, when we were waiting for Game Awards announcements, I'm like, it's got to be Forza, right? Everyone, like, I have not heard a bad thing about this game, and they've just been doing like little iterative updates and trying to make it better and doing all this stuff, and they gave you a complete game.
Yeah,
that's weird, isn't that weird? You got a complete game when you bought this. You downloaded it, it's good to go. And I'm like, it's got to be Game of the Year, right? It's got to be at least nominated, and it wasn't. I'm like, how? 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10s. People love this game.
And it's as well a thing where, again, you look at how Game Pass just lets this game be itself, and that like there's no need for this game to be a success like monetarily. It doesn't need to include things like microtransactions. It's just a pure racing game, pure open world car simulation, and just gets to, it's like again exemplary of the value of Game Pass, and like just that alone existing on the service makes the service worth it to me.
Yes.
And then you look at, what's coming soon with Halo and what's already there, like Psychonauts and a bunch of indies and EA games and stuff. It's like, man, Xbox, they're doing well. We've talked about it.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, they just keep knocking it out of the park, and yeah, I hope that Forza Horizon 5 gets a lot of recognition in the Game Awards this year because it deserves it. Now moving on to just what I'm interested to hear about, no matter which way it goes.
All right.
Tell me about Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, John. Gen 4 remade.
So my relationship with Pokemon is pretty much red and blue. I did Sword and Shield. I played Sword. I beat it. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then we knew, just because what we do here, and Rose and I really like playing the Pokemon games together, that we're just gonna pick it up. I have Diamond, she has Pearl, and I freaking love this game, dude. I legitimately love this game. Like I'm with Rose. Like the couple times we tried, I think we even tried Diamond and Pearl when it first came out. I don't remember. Like when we first got together, like I was like, hey, Pokemon's pretty cool. We got her, she has a 3DS, or she had a DS, like, let's try this. I don't remember which one it was. And I was like, let's try Pokemon. And it never clicked. She even said Sword and Shield. She's like, it's fine, whatever. Let me just get through it. And this is the first one that she's actually sat down. She's like, I get it now. I understand Pokemon. I understand why people love it. And she's just been powering through this game, like impressively powering through this game. And I fully agree. Like, this is the one that this ranks right up there now with red and blue with me. Like, these Pokemon are Pokemon. I'm sorry. It's not a trash can. It's not a sandcastle. They're actually Pokemon. And it feels good. It feels like they're actually pocket monsters and not, let me just randomly grab something out of a hat and go, oh, it's a Pokemon. And I truly, truly love that idea behind it. I also had no idea that when you trade Pokemon on this one, you have to have 2 badges. So, of course, what we do is I go through and I restart my game 6 times so I can make sure we have all the starters. Yeah, those starters like really level up pretty fast, and they stop listening to you really fast. I was like, oh, crap, this sucks.
Who's your starter?
My actual starter that I went with was Chimchar.
Correct.
Yep, I went with Chimchar. Rose went with Piplup, but yeah, I went through and got all of them for us, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love this game. This, like I said, it is the one that actually clicks for me. It harkens back to red and blue for me when I was a kid, trading Pokemon, just sitting there going through everything. I like the chibiness. I think it works with Pokemon. I think I understand why it works with Pokemon, and I love the little hints of, hey, this is what it was, this is what it is, and just enjoy it. And it's one of those things that I'm very happy I went ahead and picked up, because I was a little hesitant because I didn't know if it would click with me. Most of my Pokemon games now haven't really clicked. I get it, I play them, but it's not something I'm like, oh man, I really want to get in, and I really actually want to catch them all. And this is the one that is like, it wants me to catch them all, and I'm having fun with Pokemon. It's not like a drag, which was Sword. About halfway through the game, it just started become like dragging out. And I'm like, all right, we can keep on going, right? Mm-hmm. Your cool thing was the wild area, and it kind of played out real fast. I didn't play the DLC of any of that stuff because I was just like, I'm done with it. It's good. But God, this game is so good. I love it. Just pick up and go. And like I said, it makes sense to me and how friendly it is. Like, everything seems friendly. And I was so used to how Pokemon started, where it's like, oh, meet the professor. Now you get to choose your Pokemon. And this was, hey, I stole a Pokemon. That's how the game starts. I stole a Pokemon. I'm like, that is completely different. And I was not prepared for that. And I am here for it. And I love it. I jacked this old man's Pokemon, and now it's mine. Mm-hmm.
See, that's... I was so ready to be excited for this game. And like, I think I still will pick it up, because it just bums me out. Because like what I have read about it and stuff, it seems like the people who were initially excited for this game are the ones who are going to get the least out of it. And those being the people who have played Gen 4 and were excited to see Gen 4 remade because they knew Gen 4 was one of the better Pokemon generations, right? It has great Pokemon, it has great starters, it has great, story, and it's not Team Rocket, but it's Team
Galactic.
Galactic, that's the one.
Yep.
And like all that is like very highly praised among Pokemon fans. It just seems like they didn't like take this chance to look back.
Are you saying it's just Pokemon?
And
it's just more Pokemon?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
It doesn't seem like they expanded on anything.
Is that exactly what you're saying? It's just more Pokemon, kind of like Metroid Dread. It's just Metroid.
What? Now, come on, we had this with the pizza. Come on.
What?
Yeah, but like
no,
at some point, you know what I mean. But like, I still think I'm gonna love it because I don't have. I never played Gen 4, so I feel like this is just a way for people who haven't played Gen 4 to play it conveniently. And again, I don't mind the chibbiness. I quite like the chibbiness. So like,
I think
good.
It works. And I think that it's one of those things too. I think it was Nintendo that responded to this too, like just kind of the weird backlash of, okay, yeah, we have like, sorry, we made this for kids, like. And we got to remember that most of our fans now, Pokemon fans, might be in their mid-30s, but we made this game for kids.
Just a like Twitter video of Doug Bowser. It's for kids.
It's for kids.
Shut up.
Shut up. Who cares?
Yeah.
They're for kids.
Go play
You're
Silver.
supposed to be handing your Switch to the kid and let him like, oh yeah, I remember Turtwig. He was a cute one. That's awesome. And you're having fun with it. I think you would probably, if you like Pokemon, I think you'll actually like it. Like if you didn't play the original one.
Had a Pokemon experience at Silver. I think I tried going back and like emulating the one after Silver and Gold, Omega, Ruby and Sapphire.
Ruby and Sapphire
and Emerald.
Was those?
All those ones.
Guys, tell us. I don't know.
I don't think. Yeah. Please tell us in the comments. Please share your top 10 Pokemon generations. But yeah, like,
this is up there. This might be one for me now.
I was, you know, I thought this was going to be such a strong year for Pokemon, or like few months for Pokemon, because you had remake of one of the best generations and Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is going in a completely new direction, you would think, for the series. I feel like they're both, at the end of the day, when we all look back, they're both going to be received as flat. I feel like both of them are just what they are and no more. Neither of them are revolutions to their respective fields.
It's just Pokemon.
It's
for the kids
all the time.
It's just Pokemon.
Always with these damn Pokemon.
I mean, what do you want? You want Pokemon Snap? We gave you Pokemon Snap, and no one really played it because it was just Pokemon Snap.
Hey, I
think it looked great.
Even
it looks
Pokemon
cute. I'm down.
Snap was like,
you want Pokemon Stadium?
You throw a ball at it and it turns blue. Yippee!
Like, hey, you want an evolution on Pokemon? Go play SMP5.
There you go.
That's what I mean. Like, that's the only thing.
Do you want a Pokepark 3? I want a Pokepark 3. I love Pokepark. That game was great.
Like,
you want Pokemon Mystery Dungeon?
No.
Do you guys remember?
like it's 65.
Do you guys remember Temtem last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember
like,
Temtem.
I was.
It died.
It died of death. It just fell over.
Because you know what? It's not Pokemon.
I was rooting for it. You know, like the Simpsons thing where it's like they're at the back of the bus and they roll the fruit. It's like, go orange, go apple, and Ralph sets down the banana and it doesn't roll. Like, that's how I felt about Temtem. I was like, go Temtem, and it just
died.
Because I want there to be an alternative to Pokemon, because I feel like Pokemon is so unchallenged.
Pokemon is stagnant. Yeah, it is very challenged, and there's nothing like. And I'm going to be honest, like, no one's going to beat it because it's not Pokemon.
Like, Shin Megami Tensi 5, like, that's a game that's going for it. And I want Pokemon to go for it. But it has no incentive to ever go for anything. So I'm going to take Gen 4 Brilliant Diamond Remake, and I'm gonna like it, because that's the way the Pokemon company would like
Look, remember, Nintendo knows what you want. It doesn't, but it's going to feed you something, and you're going to enjoy it. That's the long and short of it.
I remember, like, earlier this year, I let out a tweet basically saying, what if we lived in a universe...
I've never heard anyone...
I love that phrase, though. I let the tweet out. It fell out of me.
I thought it was like, I let out a tweet, it's like I let out a fart. And I'm like, I've never heard anyone say that.
I mean, that's basically what my tweets are. My tweets are essentially shit posts, okay?
It's so good, though. I love that phrase. But yeah, sorry, continue.
So the tweet was out, and it was basically, what if we lived in a universe where Digimon was more popular than Pokemon?
Digimon
I remember this.
Digimon.
Shit, we have Yokai Watch tried, and it's not Pokemon.
I know, dude.
At least Digimon tried because it had Mon at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Digimon really. We don't appreciate Digimon enough. We didn't.
I don't appreciate Digimon at all. I had Dr. Swoosh explain to me Digimon, and I'm like, that is way too complicated for me.
We had our
You can
chance.
evolve and de-evolve and keep on
It starts
de-evolving.
out
I'm
like Pokemon.
What?
It starts out like Pokemon. You know, you got cute thing, evolves into somewhat cuter thing, and then evolves with the cute thing with a Gatling gun strapped on its back.
I was just very confused when I was like, oh, that's what this is. I remember watching the cartoon when I was a kid, and I was like, they talk to? They talk? They don't just say their name? What the shit is this? I'm scared.
They eat raw meat.
I don't need this in my life.
So Brilliant Diamond is just what it is, and no more.
It's just what it is.
And it could be a good thing or a bad thing to different people.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't play Gold, anything until pretty much the Hawaiian one, which I actually didn't like. I didn't like the
Sun and Moon.
Sun and Moon. Yeah, I didn't like Sun and Moon because I was like, where are the gym leaders? This is stupid. And then Sword and Shield kind of was like, all right, cool. It's back to a normal S concept ish. And then this one just was like, hey, here it is.
Sorry, you just you started talking about Sword and Shield, and like that's Pokemon Company's idea of like innovation. It's like, what if we made them bigger?
What if they made what if we made them bigger and it was semi-open world, but kind of not, and we're still in the constraints of the Switch? Oh, by the way, Arceus, you know, everyone loves freaking Monster Hunter. What if we just make that, but with Pokemon?
Hey, that would be awesome if it was exactly freaking Monster Hunter build just with Pokemon.
Yeah. Hunting a giant Pikachu, mounting it. Yeah,
that'd be actually really freaking cool. I'd be down with that.
This is the type of segment I love having on Playdate. Because it's been stewing, it's been in the background, and now it's time to talk about it. Because Keith just wrapped up a 2-year, maybe plus, campaign of Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, we haven't wrapped it up. Sadly, as I posted here, that Sunday, this is Tuesday, so the Sunday before we recorded this was probably going to be one of our last campaigns, but the DM couldn't make it because he was swamped with work. So sometime in December, we will be finished. But this campaign has been going on for nearly 2 years now.
How many hours is that? Be honest. Let's Finn and I have a moment again.
Shin Megami Tensi 5.
Let me have a Shin Megami Tensi moment right now. How many hours is this, baby? Tell me.
How many weeks are in a year?
52.
152 times that by 2, then times that by 5.
Oh yeah, well yeah, 52 weeks in a year, not 152. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, 52. 152.
So that's 104. That's 104.
Yeah,
that's 104 weeks.
So about 500 to 700 hours.
Oh my god.
That's only once a week.
Yeah. Still, it's what a story. What stories must have been told, you know?
Oh, we had. I was hoping to get some stats from one of the players who keeps the record keeping in the game, but unfortunately he did not respond. He's pretty busy with his own stuff. But I do have stats for my characters or lifetime stuff that I have played for my 2-3 characters that have come through the campaign. So let me pull those up. And my mouse isn't responding. Lovely.
Okay,
my mouse isn't responding.
While you're pulling that up, I'm John. I've actually never D&D'd before in my life. You say 2 or 3 characters that went through the campaign. Did one character die and you had to redo a character, or like what? Why 2 to 3 characters? I assumed you made your character and that was the one until you died, and then you just get to bring the chips to the D&D session. I had no idea.
So my first character was Pix, an artificer, is an artificer. Basically, they create little machines and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, I did not like playing them. They just felt a little bit crummy.
Okay.
even though I got to use gun, and using guns are my favorite thing in these kind of games.
Yeah.
But after that, I created Marivel, which I've been posting a lot of art that I commissioned for her on Twitter. She's been the main character throughout the whole entire 2 years, essentially, of the main character that I played. We had a small section where all of our characters got trapped, so we made another character for the rescue mission.
Right.
So we made like mercenaries to go rescue our characters.
Okay.
So that's what accounts for the 3 characters.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I was like, I'm very confused by this. Tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love how that can happen in D&D sessions where like your main character's off screen and like something else is happening. Because like over like 500 hours or whatever, you want to like spread your wings and try something new in a little bit, and like, or like maybe you're going through chapters, like there's a time skip and you're playing like your character's son or protege or whatever. Like things like that can happen. But yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
So over the course of the career of the game as a player, I have made 32 natural ones. 32 natural 20s and 35 natural ones.
That seems quite low.
It may seem low, but it's a lot of rolling.
Right.
And natural ones are supposed to... I don't want to get started in my bad luck with natural ones. I have the most natural ones out of the entire group.
Damn. But
I've also killed the most enemies.
Yeah, I imagine that plays into your character as well, though. Once you roll a certain amount of natural ones, it becomes like a gimmick for you.
No, pretty much. Yeah. But I have killed, I think, 64 enemies.
Damn.
As my paladin, so...
Kill count.
Yeah, good kill count. But I am also the one who's ruined the most sessions.
How do you track that stat exactly? Surely that's up to interpretation.
It's very much up to interpretation, but I tend to do stupid stuff in the middle of battle.
Right.
So the DM's like, okay, I gotta take a session to rethink what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I think I've done that like maybe 3 or 4 times.
Love making the DM sweat. One of my favorite things to do playing an RPG like that.
I love it because the character I'm playing is a warlock and a paladin mix, and the warlock subclass I have is the Hexblade. So I've basically get my powers from a sentient sword, and we have determined by discussing with the DM over the character that this sword was broken up into 3 different parts, and so this happened very recently. As we found the final part, it was in the plane of fire. Basically, if you went to hell, that's it. It's all fire all the time.
Yeah.
And we found the last shard. We were fighting something. One of the creatures ran away. One of them's still there. And I was closest to the shard, grabbed it, and attuned to it in the middle of battle, which is a big no-no.
So what motivated your character over the course of this quest? What was it? What was their goal?
So it's a multi-stage story. Marivel started off as a vampire. She was originally human, and during the big war that happened like 150 years ago, she was captured and turned into a vampire.
Okay.
So her big goal was to lose her vampirism at some point. And throughout the story, we went to the celestial plane and met Bahamut, which is the big dragon god.
Okay.
And big dragon god said, hey, if you kill this dragon that's trying to resurrect and destroy the world, I will remove your curse. And so several months later, we managed to do this. And she got turned into a half dragon.
Nice.
And now what's motivating her is stopping some jerkwad who looks like handsome Squidward. I'm serious. This guy looks like handsome Squidward. It's disturbing.
Oh no, he's hot.
Oh no, he's hot. And so what's motivating her is stopping him from trying to overwrite the world's reality with his own.
Do you consider your character a hero, anti-hero, villain?
Honestly, it's been a dynamic change. She usually, thought herself of more of a tool to be used.
Interesting. Because that's what I love about things like this. Like I've played one D&D, like true D&D campaign. It was pretty short. It was sort of like an introduction to the whole thing. And I've played several like RPGs and stuff. But yeah, I love the freedom to take your character and whatever way it will. Like normally when you're playing a video game RPG, you can make choices, yeah, and you can go through several paths. But largely the main touchstones for your character are the same. Like the driving factors are the same. I think that the closest video games I've ever gotten to Dungeons and Dragons and that RPG like thing is, for me at least, what I've played in Divinity and Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. And I just love playing as Sibyl in Original Sin 2. And I'll not spoil that game. That just is a game that should be experienced by everyone who loves stories and loves characters. But I was able to just like roll with her character, and my decisions were always driven by what she would do, whether it was good for the world or not. It was always like what was best in her interest, because she was a naturally selfish character and she had good reason to be selfish, at least in my view, the way I played her. But I just love when, again, it's so special that like D&D just and tabletop RPGs in general, when you're playing with a good DM, it just lets you take characters and just go whatever way you want with them.
It always seems like it's like everyone tells me like it'd be up my alley with improv and all that stuff and thinking on your feet. And I've always wanted to try it. Again, when Finn and I go 60 hours, right. I was just like, I would have to do like a one shot or something small. That way I just kind of get my feet wet and get used to the idea. Cause I have nothing against D&D. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it's something I've always wanted to experience with just the craziness that is my mind.
Yeah, D&D is one of those things that I really love. I've been into it for nearly, it's 2021. I think dating this podcast. Yep. It's 2021. I started really getting into D&D with 3.5e back in 2011, but back in high school 5 years before that, I played Exalted.
I've not.
So I've been doing table. It was a weird one, to be honest. I didn't quite understand everything because I was young at the time. My mind didn't wrap around a lot of concepts that easy.
Yeah.
So would say a good 15 to nearly 20 years experience on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. That's impressive.
Yeah, for me, I didn't come into contact with D&D or RPGs until university. And like specifically going to a society that runs that stuff. It was just not something that was ever like my friends talked about, or like was ever like shown on TV or anything, and commercials or anything like that. It was just not something that was ever explained to me. Because like as a kid, I would have thought that was like wicked cool. I would have jumped on that immediately and like told my friends to play it with me. Probably would have DM'd if I got in early enough. But yeah, it's just one of those things that caught me later in life. And yeah, it's like. The thing that sucks is like it's hard. Like you gotta have a committed group. You gotta be able to find a time with people. Like it is, quite a testament that you guys have been able to carry on this campaign for so long and bring it to its conclusion, shortly.
Honestly, I feel it is 100% because of the DM that I have stuck so well. Like, don't get me wrong, the rest of the group is amazing. They're amazing people. They're amazing players. But what captured me first is the DM being so willing to support stupid ideas. Like, I tweeted out and I've said on previous podcasts, I'm a min-maxing power playing son of a bitch. He allowed me to, explore concepts that in time would become overpowered, but started off weak. allowed me to explore character arcs that, did silly things, but also was actually in the service of the plot. We've done a lot of stupid stuff, but we've had nearly a hangover. But we started the game with a hangover arc, essentially, where we all woke up in the middle of the woods with a box that was shaking and someone was screaming outside, and out pops a naked halfling screaming at us. And even we keep joking in the middle of the campaign that he must have made this campaign after watching Endgame. Because, even though Endgame didn't happen until after we started this, because the main guy was collecting a bunch of strangely colored stones.
Nice.
Is this Handsome Squidward? Or is this the...
it's Handsome Squidward collecting strange stones.
Yeah. The power rings.
Mm-hmm.
Canned bread, strange stones.
Like, where do you go from now? Is this group sort of gonna like break apart and like take a break for a while? Are you guys playing another campaign? Are you gonna take a break from D&D personally for a while? Like, where do you go after a 2-year-long campaign? Like, how do you just let that go?
Like, honestly, I don't know. This has been a part. This is why I mark every Sunday is that I'm not allowed to start until like 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Because we start about 2 p.m. my time and around 6, 7.
Yeah.
Damn.
And this has been such a major part of my Sundays for the past 2 years that I have no idea where to go. Like, I'm pretty sure the Discord for the D&D group's going to stay open. We'll talk to each other every now and again. I go to one of the players' streams every now and again and chat him up.
Yeah.
We're probably still going to stick around and chat with each other, but given the fact that a lot of campaigns really rely on a DM, we probably won't be playing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be going back through Roll20 and hoping I hit the gold nugget again and applying for, saying, hey, I have like X amount of years experience. I'm a good role player. I like to do fun things. And trying to get into another game, which is hard because games are not seeking players. They are seeking DMs.
Yeah.
That's the part that scares me, John, where you have to have like an RPG resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, hi, I'm John. I've been doing this for 7.5 years. I'm a ranger with this style. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, do I have to sit down and actually interview with someone?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's like, I respect the hell out of it because it makes sense, but it's just like, oh, this is a world, like, just seeing the door creak open just a little bit, I'm like, oh my God.
I get why it happens. You don't want to be, like, in a group, like, where you have to, like, instruct them how to play, and, like, you don't want to be with people who are too advanced. So, like, it's all about finding the right people.
The balance.
It's, like, not trying to gatekeep or anything, but, like, yeah, it's just one of the intimidating aspects about it.
Thing is first-timers are always fine in a group. I just like to include my history of playing role-playing games as a comfort to the DM, saying, hey, yeah, I understand the rules. I understand where we're going. I can easily help service the plot if we need to. I can be the fun guy. I can be the funny guy. I can be the serious guy. Whatever you need me to be.
When you're, like, looking for, like, a group or a DM to run with, do you, like, search for a type of story, or does, like, a DM pitch a story and, like, ask people to participate? Like, how does that work?
It's usually on Roll20, I will search for stories that DMs have pitched. I don't really, I don't want to say I don't care, but I do care about the story. I just don't care what setting they're going for.
Right.
Okay, got it.
It's like reading the first few, you know how you turn a book over on the back?
Yeah, the cover.
And they have that fun little like paragraph synopsis.
Blurb, yeah.
If you have something that gets me there, like in the first couple lines, I will generally apply.
So you're judging a book by its cover. Thank you, Finn.
Yes.
Yeah, I got your back with these things. Yeah.
I get it. I mean, you've opened the flap and you're like, oh, hey, look at this. That actually sounds interesting. I'm in. Yeah, I get it. 100%.
So
one of my favorite
I
words.
guess I have to judge books by my covers, by their covers, because I grew up with my grandmother who kept a bunch of those stupid romance novels books. So my covers are usually judged by if there's a sexy man with like a 20-pack on the front holding a sword.
Do you know, quick tangent, that's one of my, like, because, like...
Goals in life?
I, like, do 2 video game podcasts, and like I'm constantly up to date with like what games are coming out and what's like should be kept an eye on and what shouldn't be. Like I miss just like going into a shop and just looking at a box art and looking at the back of the box and just going, yeah,
this is it.
This is for me.
Yeah, this is it.
Because you know when you walk in,
Blockbuster was
like
for.
Forza Horizon, Mario, and you're like, I just can't walk in and like be surprised anymore. I know everything that's on those shelves. But yeah, I guess that we'll see what the future holds when it comes to you and your D&D experience. Do you think, but like one thing I have, because I've played a lot more like different kinds of RPGs than I have actual like pure D&D, and I've had DMs who are like, yeah, we're gonna cut out basically like all of the combat system, all of the dice roll, and all of the numbers, and like basically just make it like a giant improv thing, like just all focused on story, and I'll decide like what happens to you, and you just like give me things and I'll react to it. Like, do you think you might ever like want to try something like that, or do you like those sort of like more gamified aspects of it?
Honestly, I have tried theater of the mind things. Exalted was a very theater of the mind game.
Yeah,
you would tell the DM what you wanted to do, and he decided if it was awesome enough, you could do it. But I really like the chance of the die.
Yeah,
like I like saying, "Oh, I want to do this," and then I go through and give a speech. And then I roll the dice and see if I'm succeeding or not. And if it doesn't succeed, the DM, usually gives me a description of saying, "Wow, your inspiring speech did go through to some people. A good portion of the people are ignoring you and not believing you because you look the way you do. You look like a dragon. They don't trust you."
Okay.
Huh. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll see what the future holds with that. Anything more before we move on then?
I mean, honestly, I do encourage everyone to at least try D&D in some way. There is a lot of online resources and ways to play now. The Roll20, virtual tabletops, and if you even want to see how a high-end game is played, there is always Critical Role. Yeah, Matt Mercer is a wonderful DM. It kind of upsets me because a lot of Matt Mercer's stuff has leaked into the way players and DMs think a game of D&D should go, and not everyone's going to be a Matt Mercer or a Taliesin Jaffe. Right. You are not going to get those kind of players or DMs. Just keep your mind open and try to find something fun to do within it. It doesn't have to be exactly D&D. There's the Pokemon tabletop. The Fate system. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And ultimately,
you'll find something good for you.
It's a social experience as well. So it's like it's usually about like who you're playing with and like again, what DMs, who your party is. So yeah, it's cool now though. You like because of Discord and the internet and stuff. Like it's much easier to find again than we were growing up. Like if you didn't have D&D nerds in your town, like you were kind of screwed, So
if you didn't have those D&D friends, it never happened.
Nope. But yeah, maybe we'll get some kind of session going on now to play games sometime in the future. We'll see if that ever pans out. So now is the part of the podcast where we take a little break and we play a game right here on the show. I was trying to think of a festive one to do, and then it just sort of came to me. Are either of you familiar with the game Carrot in a Box?
No.
Okay,
I'm guessing this is
so much better.
Oh God.
So the idea behind Carrot in a Box is it's like a really old-fashioned Christmas game. Again, UK people will know it based off like either playing it or seeing it done on Countdown 8 out of 10 Cats version. People in the UK knows what that is. But the basic idea behind it is that there are 2 boxes. One of the boxes contains a carrot.
Okay.
Now, the basic way of how this works is you two are going to be playing against each other, right? And the way it's going to work is, say if John goes first, right? John looks in his assigned box. And either the carrot's going to be there or it's not going to be there. Keith then gets to decide based off John's reaction whether or not to swap the box so that he gets the car or not. The aim of the game is to get the car. John has to do his best to convince Keith to swap or not swap based on the fact that he knows that he has the car or doesn't have the car, right? I've sort of taken another version of this. So we're going to play 3 rounds of this. And this is going to be video games. So in this version, there's actually going to be things in both boxes. A good thing in one box and a bad thing in the other box. It's going to be video game themed. So we're going to... It's going to be like Christmas, right? You open up your Christmas present. You might get a video game console. You get a game with your console. And hey, one of the boxes is going to contain like a player or two to play alongside you, right? So you guys can open up the Notion page now. Do not open up the boxes yet. Just open up the Notion page that will list the 3 rounds. I'll be going through these alphabetically. Or, well, by round. So the first rounds will be consoles. So, let me do this real quick to decide. John, give me a real quick heads or tails?
Tails.
All right. Google's going to flip the coin for me. And it is tails. All right, so you go first. So, John, please choose box A or box B.
All right. I'm going to choose box B.
Okay.
Can I open it?
You can open box B.
Okay.
You have seen the contents of box B.
I see the context of box B.
All right. So from any time from now onwards, Keith can decide whether or not to swap his box with John. But John is currently in possession of box B. John, what have you got in your box?
I have a console in my box, Keith.
Is that a good console? Is it a console you'd want?
I mean, depends on the player, really. Like, I know we all have those exclusives that we want, but sometimes it's just one of those, I don't know if that's the right way to go, but honestly, it's kind of sort of up my alley. I know Keith well enough that I don't think it actually is, like, actually up your alley. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. You don't want this box.
Okay.
Or maybe you do. I don't know, but not your style of box, if I will.
It's not the way I expected this game to go. John is playing it close to the chest either way. Keith, do you believe he has the good box? He seems to be letting on that he has the bad box. Do you
I want
him?
that box. Give me that box.
Do you want the box?
All right.
Do you
Are you
want
absolutely
the box?
sure?
Are you absolutely sure?
I'm sure. Give me that
because
box.
The games you're going to be playing on that box are not your style of games. And I'm actually trying to help you out with that.
And look, I may be known as the RPG headliner here, but I play actually a lot of very diverse games.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just saying.
He's swapping the box. Keith, you may now open up box B to reveal its contents.
Box B. Oh, hey, an Xbox. I've actually wanted one of these.
Yes. So Keith, you caught John out. You sniffed him out. John had the good box. He has now given away the good box and revealed the contents of the other box, which is now his. John, please reveal to the people what you have received.
Oh, shut up.
Please tell me it's like one of those Chinese knockoff consoles.
Oh, God. It's, how do you pronounce it? Owe?
Oh,
yeah.
Awe.
Oh yeah, it's not.
Oh yeah,
it's not a Huawei. It's an Ouya. Do you guys remember the Ouya?
Oh,
I remember the Ouya.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember the Ouya. God damn it.
Yeah. John was trying to bluff there, but it didn't work. All right. So now it's Keith's turn. This is to decide the games that come along with the console. Assume that all games work with all consoles, because most things don't work with the Ouya. But Keith, you may choose to look in either box 1 or box 2. Please tell me what of the 2 numbered boxes you have looked in.
I would like to look at box number 1.
All right, Keith has looked in box number 1. John now gets to decide this time whether he would like to swap or keep his box. Keith, you happy with your choice?
Honestly, yeah, I'm happy with my choice.
John, do you believe him? Does that seem like a trustworthy gentleman?
Is that it? That's all you give me?
I mean, I can say that this has been highly anticipated.
Okay.
I mean, people are even fanatic about it.
how fanatic have they been? Like on a scale of, let's go Garfield Racing to Sekiro. No. Let's go Elden Ring. We got to look to 2022.
No.
Garfield to Sekiro. God damn it. Elden Ring. Where are we at?
Not to tamper with the game, Keith, you're obliged to give him no information. You can give him as much or as little as you want, as long as you end up with the correct box.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I could say people have been wanting this more than Elden Ring.
Oh. Are you excited for this game?
I mean, if it ever did happen, yeah. If I could buy it, if I had the money at the time, definitely.
Okay. I'm going to stick with box 2.
John is sticking with box 2, not buying it for a second. John, you may now open the contents of box 2 and reveal to the people what you have received.
I got the highly rated, positive upswing game of Cyberpunk 2077. It's all about perspective, baby. And Cyberpunk is kicking ass and taking names right now. It is mostly positive on Steam. Actually, it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam right now.
John is now playing Cyberpunk on the Ouya.
I'm loving it.
Keith over with his Xbox Series X. Tell him what you're playing, Keith.
Bloodborne now in 60 frames per second.
God damn it.
Oh my god, okay. Alright, I'm gonna, since you each got to go, I'm gonna do heads or tails again to decide who goes in the final round to decide who your player 2 is.
Right.
Keith, give me heads or tails this time.
Heads.
Okay, John gets to be the first to look inside the box this time.
Hell. Do I want to be the
box.
alpha or the omega? Yeah. I'm going to be I'm an alpha. I'll be an alpha.
All right. Please look into box alpha.
Okay.
So yeah, do what you got to do. Either try and keep your hands on the good contents of that box, or try and swap to get the good contents that you think might be in the other box. Say what you got to say, or say nothing at all.
It's a
You're
box,
under no
baby.
obligation.
I was like, it's a box. That's what it is. It's a box and it has a gift.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Keith,
And you never know what you're going to get.
Do you sense some salt off of John right now? Not revealing much information. Seemingly going for chance this time around. Giving nothing away. Because his bluffing skills never worked in the previous 2 rounds.
I've only known John for about 4 years now. I can't.
Oh my God, has it been 4 years?
I can't.
Jesus.
I can't sniff him out too well. But
You sniffed him out last time.
No, you sniffed it out pretty well last time. I didn't know, I was trying to, actually figure out how to play this game, so it's cool. Well done.
Given that he's stoic, he's trying to bluff, he's good at improv.
Did you catch any initial reaction off of him when he looked in the box? Did anything in his eyes sparkle?
No, his eyes always sparkle. He's a pretty princess.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is it supposed to be like a tense game, menacing, you all being too nice to each other?
I'm going to keep my box.
All right.
You can keep your box?
Mm-hmm.
So John, just to make sure, you chose box Omega, didn't you?
No, I chose Alpha.
You chose box Alpha, okay.
I chose Alpha, yep.
Please reveal the contents of box Alpha.
Hey, listen! I got Navi.
So
Son of a bitch.
Navi's going to be your player 2, which means Keith gets to open the other box and reveal his player 2.
Okay, I'm not opening the box yet. I'm going to lay down my prediction that it's Jeff Keighley. Oh, Clank.
Keighley was in that box, and I took him out. Keighley was 100% in that box. Papa Phil was in the box before Keighley, but I landed on Clank. Because, I don't know if Keighley's, fun to play games with, you know what I mean? But Clank, I feel like he's always, hanging out, you know, he's fun to be around, he's there. He's a good sidekick. John,
I love that idea, is Jeff Keighley fun to play video games? I think Papa Phil is. I truly think Papa Phil probably is a great player, too.
But has anyone seen Jeff Keighley play a video game, is my question. Does the man have time, or does he just, talk about them?
Didn't he play? He played a demo when we were in the COVID times. I remember that. I remember we all streamed it and we're like, we even said that, like, is Jeff actually playing a freaking game? And it was one of the demos. I think it was right after they announced the PlayStation 5 and gave us what it looked like. I think he actually was like, I have the controller and I'm going to jump into insert demo.
Thing is we haven't left COVID times. He could be playing a lot of games right now.
We're still there. Oh yeah, we're 100% still in there. So at the beginning.
Oh, we're gonna be dating this like carbon, baby.
Literally the month and the year is in the title of every episode.
Yeah,
like, it's dated from the beginning.
Where are the December 2021 play dates? I don't know how much more we can date this damn thing.
Yeah, seemingly the goal of every podcast. So like John, you got your ass handed to you with that game.
Oh yeah, 100%. That sounds about right. Dude, even last month I didn't do very well. Like these games just don't roll in my favor.
Are you generally like a good bluffer though? Like, do you have a good poker face? Would you say? Or
yes, yeah. Like Rose is the only one that actually knows my tells. Like everyone else, yeah.
Was not on display tonight, but
I'm just lucky.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Is the undisputed champion of Card in the Box for this time around. Might bring that back. Yes. We'll see. But now we must move on to talk about the upcoming games for December and by extension for the rest of the year. We're starting on the 2nd with Solar Ash by Heart Machine, published by Annapurna. The follow-up to Heart Machine's debut title of Hyper Light Drifter. This time it's 3D. You're skating on an alien world. By the way, we'll choose a game along the way to give the nod to as we see fit. Solar Ash looks like fun. I don't know if I'm convinced yet, even though I loved Hyper Light Drifter.
Yeah, I love Hyperlight. I think this going into 3D, it does concern me a little bit. And yes, I did pick it up in the Fantasy League. It will win me the Fantasy League, but I'm a little concerned of the transition from 2D to 3D on this one. I think it looks cool. I like the stylistic that Heart Machine does, the style that they put the game in. I'm excited. Hopefully it comes out soon. It got pushed back and I got scared and we haven't heard anything yet. Like no one even said like when this was even pushed back, like when it was supposed to come out. All of a sudden, I think we just saw a random tweet, and all it was like, oh hey, it's still coming out this year. Sweet.
It was one of those like Q3 for a long time, and then Q3 came and went, and it's like, what Q are you in? You know. Yeah. Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain. Have you seen the trailer for this game?
I think so.
It's like a bunch of like kids and family members like putting their big IQ points to the test. It's sort of like brain training for the DS, but like competitive.
Yeah.
Seems like a fun little Christmas stocking stuffer. Get the family in there.
I miss Brain Age.
Get all now to play games and see who's actually the smartest one.
That was when I saw the trailer for that game drop. I was like, that would be a good video. Who is the definitive smartest at now to play games? Who is the biggest brain? So, maybe we'll see.
Who has the biggest brain and who has the smoothest? Let's go.
I feel like this one came out of nowhere. I had no idea this was releasing even this year. Chorus. You guys remember that?
What is this one?
Yeah. So, like, do you remember I may be confusing it with another game. Let me pull up the trailer real quick. Because I think I can always confuse this with... Yeah, so I am confusing it with Scorn. So it's not Scorn. It's not the, like, weird, like, disgusting one.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like... spaceship flying through like third person but with like heavy story stuff going on and you're doing
yeah I'm pulling up the trailer.
I think it was like an Xbox event. It looked like Corvs at first because of the font. It looks fun. Might be a sleeper hit in December. Like it looks
I'm not going to give this one the nod, but I completely forgot about this one. I just watching the trailer, I'm in just to play it because I like the rail type shooters that they're just fun to me.
I love the camera work. It makes it feel like arcadey, but then you get like the sort of more story heavy elements when you like zoom in on the main character. It seems cool. Cool concept.
Is this a Game Pass thing?
I don't know.
Since it is a Xbox? I don't know either. I have to look that one up. This one, I'm actually in on this one. This will be a lot of fun.
I was sitting there thinking, like, what is this game? Like, oh wait, it's the one that has the weird V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the one that has the weird V. That's like how people remember this game. On the 7th of December 2021 will be the final release date for Final Fantasy 14
It damn well better come out.
I'm waiting for a nod. Am I getting a nod? I think I am.
I can't give it a nod because everybody's expecting this game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. Twice Final Fantasy 14 got snubbed.
I thought this month would have been the month too.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. But just like generally, I think there was
Keith, how excited are you?
Oh, yeah. I'm super excited for the game, yes. But the thing is, giving nods is like putting special attention on people who don't know about this game. And as it sits, pretty much everyone knows about the game.
I appreciate how you use nods, Keith. I always, you don't go the obvious route with it, which I respect. But yeah, you're gonna probably have to wait to play this because we got goodies around that time, dude. So install it, but like leave it.
Congratulations on the 3rd. I get early access.
Oh, yeah. Damn. Okay, so we're not going to see.
We made sure he got the hookup. So,
goddamn. On the 8th of December, Halo Infinite Campaign fully released, and it gets my nod.
Does it really?
Yeah. Not again. Nice. It's a nod in principle. Not a game I'll probably play. Maybe at some point. Maybe I'll look around because I have played Halo 1 and 2 campaign with friends through the Master Chief Collection. So maybe this is something I'd look around to. But yeah, Halo has never been my forte. But just another strong thing for Game Pass. Halo Infinite multiplayer's killing it. The campaign trailer for Halo Infinite released today. That looked quite cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing as well that I've noticed with Playdate and since we've been doing it is the nod is normally the kiss of death for me. so this might end up killing Halo Infinite for a lot of people, and I'm sorry for that if that happens. But in principle, I'm giving Halo Infinite the nod because I want it to do well.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. A lot of people play Halo for actually the multiplayer, but the story campaign's a nice little, cherry on top some of the time.
It's a bit of a bummer that co-op campaign is not accessible from the beginning, and it won't be for a while. That is for sure. Like, I have friends who are huge into Halo. That's normally like how they would like to, dive in on day one, like experience it with their friends. So it's a shame we can't do that. But yeah, single player only this time it seems. On the 16th of December, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Jesus, this has been delayed into infinity.
Yeah, this has been every state of play since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah,
it's always.
It was on the. They showed it when they first announced the PlayStation 5 when we first saw it. And we were like,
right?
What?
Yeah, because it's different, right? It's different than the usual Five Nights at Freddy's stuff you're seeing. You're walking around, and it feels more like you're. It's a bit more sci-fi, but you are walking around a Chuck E. Cheese or whatever.
Yeah.
It
has a little more phasmophobia feel to it.
It's a very glam rock era build.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting, again, these games are done to death and these characters are done to death. But this is a cool twist on it. Maybe a sort of refresh almost, soft reboot. Yeah, it's just cool to see. I don't think I'll play it, but it's intriguing at the very least. Maybe something that ends up being a sleeper hit. And then the final game on our list for 2021 on the same day, The Gunk.
Keith, are we both giving this one our nod?
I think so.
Have to be.
Oh my god.
Double nod. Double nod to The Gunk. Nod. All right, good vibes.
Oh my god. Keith, please go first.
It's what was the other game these guys made? I believe it was
SteamWorld.
Huh? SteamWorld, yeah.
SteamWorld.
Yeah, because SteamWorld was a very interesting game. I haven't really got my hands too much on it, but The Gunk looks positively fun.
Very simple, right? You're just going around clearing a planet of the gunk, the titular gunk. And
I also like to say that a few of the scenes in the trailer give me very much Geiger vibes, and I'm into that.
It feels like John, I don't know how much you played, if any, of Haven earlier this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
Oh, the
But, like,
horny
the way-
game.
Was that this year?
Has to be, right?
Wait, Haven
No
was the
way.
horny
No.
game, right?
Yeah, Haven.
Oh
was
yeah,
the-
it is.
Uh,
It is a thirsty effing game.
I believe you and Rose tweeted from your couch page that you were playing the horny game, and Haven just like outright didn't respond or something.
Was that, I know we played it for
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Was that this year?
I think so.
Oh my god!
It's time is
What's time? Holy
But,
shit!
Yeah,
okay.
the way in that game you go from like planet to planet, like clearing out the little corruption. It seems like that, but with slightly like darker undertones to it, and not as much as the horn. Yeah, I'm interested. Like, I don't know, like the character design. The main character design kind of freaks me out. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
She looks like a doll or like a marionette almost. I don't know if I'm vibing with it. It's hard for me to empathize with them, but I don't know, maybe. Because you're sort of behind them. It's a third person game, so I don't know how that'll go. It's one of those ones where like I'm rooting for it. Again, I already give Halo Infinite my nod, but this gets a spiritual nod.
Hey,
if that's even a thing.
Hey, in spirit, it's a once in a lifetime triple nod. Let's go. Let's
I
do
just
this.
love the title. Most
Gunk.
titles
The
are like
Gunk,
named
yeah.
after characters. The Gunk. It's about the Gunk.
The gunk.
You know?
Yeah, SteamWorld Dig, I absolutely love. That game was fantastic, and I truly love Image and Form, and I like what they do with things. And let's be absolutely honest, Thunderful knocked it out of the park with their press conference, with their indie showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I'm pretty excited. Like, I freaked out when I first saw the gunk and they went into 3D, which I know exactly what I said is the exact opposite of why I'm a little hesitant with Solar Ashes. I think this... Yeah, sorry, Heart Machine. I think you're great developers, but there's something about Image and Form. I think they've perfected this concept, and every single one of their... Once they got past SteamWorld Dig 2, every single one of their SteamWorld games... Well, actually, in between that, like everything was a little bit different genre, but still in the same universe. And I'm really, really excited to play this because I know they just announced the SteamWorld 3D game. So this will be a good judgment on how, like, where they can go to. And if they knock it out of the park, the new SteamWorld game is going to be amazing.
It's always interesting looking at these game lists because, like, I always find at least like one head-to-head showcase that I really like to look at and see how they're both received. And like you've now made that for me, John, where it's like Solar Ash and the Gunks, because it's like alien ice skating in colorful landscapes. Gunk.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how those two shape up. Who gets reviewed better or whatever. But
Yeah.
that'll take us to the end of the year, fellas. Now we're moving on into 2022 with the Elden Rings and the God of Wars and the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel to
And the Horizons.
the Horizons, probably some things that haven't even been announced yet and probably be announced at the Game Awards. Hellblade 2? Hopefully.
Ooh, maybe we get a release date for Hellblade 2. Ooh, that would be... That's the 2.5 years, I think.
So yeah, you'll be listening to this podcast in early December, assuming nothing breaks this time. We got Game Awards reactions coming up. We got our own personal goodies coming up. We got Fantasy League results and drafts coming into next year. We got a lot to look forward to this month in December. It's going to be a big month for us, sort of reviewing the year that has passed and looking forward to next year. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel to not miss any of that. And yeah, that's all we have for you this episode. So thanks for sticking with us. And if it's your first time and you like what you heard, consider giving us a good rating on your podcast service of choice, because we're also a podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, we'd appreciate a subscribe, a like, a comment. Let us know what your things of the year are, whether it's movies, TV, books, songs, whatever. Just like rate them all, post them all, your things of the year. I need recommendations because we're going into the holidays. And I will be consuming games and stuff like it ain't nobody's business, because I'll be done with uni stuff for a while. If you want more from Now to Play, you can head over to our social channels. Just search Now to Play Games, and you're sure to find us on the Twitters, on the the Google searches and the Bings, the Microsoft Edges. Till next time, I've been Finn. Thanks to John and Keith for joining me, and we will see you all next year.
Bye.